Hi, hello, and welcome to another video. Today we're doing an entire face of e.l.f. cosmetics. So, if you like e.l.f. and you want to see what I can come up with, let's go ahead and get started. I have 3 priming products from e.l.f. Wow Glow SPF 30, which is what I'm going to use as like my moisturizer today. And you know, e.l.f. is coming for everybody and their bag with all of their recent launches. They never sleep. Do we feel like there's a new color pop? I don't know. Seems like they're always launching a new product, always trying to dupe something that is viral. So that is the Wow Glow SPF 30. I really enjoy the glow. It's not as deep as the original Supergoop Glow Screen. It's still just a tiny bit darker than my skin, so it does give me kind of like a sun-kissed look. But I just have to make sure that I blend it into my hairline and down my neck. The other 2 that I have are the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer and the new Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. Well, I think we'll just do one on each side. I'm going to do the Power Grip on this side. This is e.l.f.'s answer to the Milk Makeup Hydra Grip Primer. It is a very sticky base product. Hopefully you can see, like, how sticky it really is, which is how it's going to keep your makeup on because of that sticky, tacky gooiness. And it does leave you with kind of a more glowy finish. It doesn't do anything to combat pores. It's purely for longevity's sake. So the Liquid Poreless Putty Primer, I'm assuming this is a dupe for the Tatcha liquid primer. And this says it has the same lasting grip and smooth finish of the Poreless Putty Primer, now in a liquid. So Tatcha did the same thing. They had their like balm primer and then they made a liquid version. And here we have e.l.f. doing the same thing. So hopefully you can see this is like not necessarily mattifying me to where I look absolutely lifeless, but it is knocking back some of the glow from that Wow Glow. And it is, whereas this is really sticky and tacky, this is really like smooth and almost slippery, but not in a bad way. I'm not really sure. I mean, I can tell this side compared to this side, but is that because of the finish difference and the way the light is hitting it, or is it because it's actually doing something? I think I like this. I couldn't be bothered with the original Putty Primer. I didn't ever reach for it because I didn't feel like it did anything. However, with this, I can see everything on my skin just looks a little more blurred, which is what it's selling. I will definitely keep using this. As of right now, I will go ahead and say that I like it. Okay, next up is the Putty Color Correcting Eye Brightener. I picked mine up in the shade Fair. As soon as I saw these on Trend Mood, I was absolutely need to pick it up because I love under eye brighteners. And this is $6, and as we know, I have found a favorite at Ulta that is $7. I have tried this a few times on Instagram stories. It definitely adds an instant brightening effect. It doesn't color correct as much as I would like, and I think that's because of the formula. It's pretty sheer actually, which is a good thing for under the eyes, but on the same vein, I'm like, literally vein, I can still see them. I think just for like everyday no makeup, I will continue to reach for this, but if I need more color correction, this is not going to do it. And I know they have their other color correctors that are a lot more pigmented, and they didn't have a shade for me in that one. The lightest shade was still entirely too dark to work for my skin. But you know, it's like the more times I try it, the more I like it. I think this is looking really nice. It's definitely hydrating. It's not dry like their Putty eyeshadows. A lot of people love them, but when I tried them, they were dry as a bone, so they were not my thing. But this Putty eye brightener is definitely promising. For foundation, I'm going to be using their Flawless Satin Foundation. I'm in the shade Swan, and this is a pretty basic foundation. It's going to serve you well. You can adjust if it's going to be super glowy or super matte based on what you put underneath. So my combo today should be very interesting. We'll say the coverage, it says it's medium coverage, and I would say it's like high medium coverage. And everything is sliding on wonderfully underneath that Poreless Putty Primer I put on this side. You can feel the difference on your skin, like it feels like it's dragging a little bit more. It's not as easy to blend out because it is gripping. E.l.f. also makes really nice sponges and brushes. Their Total Face Sponge is one I have in my collection. Always, I was just too lazy to go wet it. Since I was too lazy to wet it, I'll just use it dried to pick up any excess product. It does have a slight smell like baby powder. So I tried to do everything as evenly as I could, but I will say that I am much preferring the way it looks on this side, which had the Poreless Putty liquid primer. Like, it looks so satiny smooth. This side, it looks fine, but it's like definitely not as smooth, like right here in my pore area, and definitely not as smooth on my forehead. I don't know. Could be my mind playing tricks on me, but I think this side looks better. Moving on to the Luminous Putty Bronzer. They also have matte versions of these. And I think nice is just the best way to describe it. Not like revolutionary. I believe this is $6 as well. I probably would prefer the matte one, just now that I have so much texture on my skin. So if you can find a shade that works for you and you're in a pinch, or you just really like this like stiffer kind of formula, then you're going to really like these. And E.l.f. never misses an opportunity to make more money, so of course they have a brush specifically for their putty bronzers and blushes. So hopefully you can see there is a little bit of luminosity and sheen to it. If that's what you like, they have it. But, you know, the matte versions are good too. For the contour, I'm going to be using one of their Halo Glow Beauty Wands, and this is the shade Fair, and it is basically gray, which is perfect for a contour. They also have a basically gray in the matte putty bronzer, I believe. I believe it is in Vacay Mood, but for the sake of using a lot of different things from the range, I'm going to use this for contour. And obviously this was E.l.f.'s Charlotte Tilbury attempt. I'm going to place it right by my ear and flick it up. Contour that nose. When I first tried this, I was actually surprised at how gray it was. Just because you don't see a lot of contours that are actually cool toned. Right next to that bronzer, it looks just pure gray. This is a good color to kind of chisel out anything that you want to be chiseled. And these don't close and lock like the Charlotte Tilbury ones, so you gotta be careful not to squeeze it too much. We're bronzed and contoured. Moving on to blush, the two blushes I have are again the Luminous Putty Blush and the little Halo Glow Blush. This is in the shade Berry Radiant, and this one is in the shade St. Bart's. Let's just do both. I want to say the putty blushes are $6 and the wand is like $9. So let's do St. Bart's on this side, knowing I'm going to like mix them anyway. But you know, it is the same formula as the bronzer, a little stiffer than, you know, cream blushes that I absolutely adore. So it's not like something I reach for constantly, but it does have a little bit of sheen to it and definitely gives good color payoff. The Halo Glow on this side, these are pretty sheer, and I was kind of surprised when I first tried them how sheer they were, how sheer they are, but I guess the masses are not used to a liquid blush, so they probably did that on purpose. Take that across the nose. Those colors are actually pretty similar already. And I mean, I would just say that the Halo Glow one is just slightly more glowy. Too long didn't read. I just think the putty blush is easier in application. They're pretty similar when it comes down to it. For powders, I have the Halo Glow setting powder in the light pink shade, and then I also have the E.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation in 125 Fair. Also going to use E.l.f.'s cute little puffy guy and take the Halo Glow powder and use that to set my under eyes. The Halo Glow powder to me is okay. It will definitely get the job done. It's not overly glowy. I keep it around because it's an affordable option and I love to compare other things to it, but I'm not reaching for it on a daily basis. I'm mainly going to set in my T-zone, and you can tell it definitely is blurring right here where I set it feels nice and smooth. Definitely not a bad powder, not a bad choice if you're in the drugstore and need to make a choice. Also, this light pink shade is not so pink that it's going to turn your face pink. Pink powders are really popular right now, and a lot of them are just too pigmented, especially for fair folks like me. This is a really great just get it done kind of powder. My only suggestion is to be careful with how much you put on. It can tend to get a little heavy on the skin, but a really sheer layer is amazing. The powder foundation, I use that for blemish covering. When I've done the rest of my base and things are still just poking through, I go in with this, and you can hardly see the embossed e.l.f. on there anymore because I use it so much. And I usually just take like a densely packed eyeshadow brush, and of course my skin is doing pretty well, but hopefully you can see that guy. And it just disappears. You just have to make sure you blend the edges around the blemish because this has so much more coverage than just the normal powder. Sometimes I put it around my nose because I have broken capillaries that come through. Like, this is basically just my little eraser, and it covers up anything that I need it to cover without looking too heavy on the skin. And whether I'm wearing a full face of e.l.f. or not, I add this to my routine. Like I said, it's one of my favorite products from e.l.f. and it's definitely underrated. Admittedly, I have not used it all over my face as a foundation, and I've heard that people don't like it that way, so. But to cover up spots, amazing. e.l.f. has these new 10-pan palettes, the Perfect 10 eyeshadow palettes. I picked up this like blue and brown variation, so let's get zoomed in to make a look. It's been a long time since I've tried a powder eyeshadow from e.l.f. I'm going to go into this white first. See how pigmented it is under my brow? Okay. You can see it. Put that in the inner corner. I still smell the foundation. Then I'm going to move it on down to this shade right here. Oh, yep. It's a little more pigmented than I thought, and this is a fluffy brush. It's not dense, so that really means that it's pigmented. Blend that up to the white. That's really pretty for like an everyday shadow. I know e.l.f. has like those big palettes, but I haven't used an e.l.f. eyeshadow, a powder eyeshadow, since the like little trios first came out. Those are good. I definitely want to get into some of these more interesting colors. Let's go into the dark blue. Looks like it might be trying to be a duochrome. Oh, it's so chunky though. I can feel it falling out all over my face. Probably should have added that shade last, because now Fallout's going to rock my world. It's very dry and crumbly, but it kind of looks pretty on the lid. Maybe that's just me. Take this icier blue right next to it. Put that in the inner corner. These eyeshadows almost have like a seal to them. Like you need to really get your brush in there and work it around, like break up the product a little bit before it picks up anything on the brush, or at least that's the experience I'm having now. I'm just going to feather that into the crease so it kind of fades in, and I'm just going to flip this brush over and go into the purple. Sometimes purple can just look gray on the lids. Alright, that's where I'm sitting. I did add some white like right here, but once I blend everything you won't even notice it. It's just so I can see what I'm doing, like to give myself an idea of the shape. So I'm just going to do this exact same thing on this side. I'm going to take that same crease shade underneath the lash line, as well as the purple. I know e.l.f. makes eyeliners, but I don't have any of those, so I'm going to take this like navy blue, it almost looks black, on an angled brush, and just run that across my lash line before I do one more step. Wiggling it in, need some smokiness. Lastly, I'm going to take this shade right here and try to put it in the very center of my lid. Yeah. This color has a touch of green in it. Well, I am really looking like a mermaid. So that is it for the eyeshadow. The blue stained my hands. We love that. Going to move on to brows. And I know they have a micro tip pencil, but I don't have it. I know they have Wow Brow, but I don't have it. What I do have is the Instant Lift Brow Pencil in the shade Auburn. This is one of the things in e.l.f.'s line that seems like it hasn't just gone up drastically in price. I bought it for $2. Hopefully it's still $2. It's a little chunky guy, and it's pretty waxy. The color is spot on, and if you are on vacation and you have a drugstore nearby and you're like, oh crappy doodle, I left my brow pencil at home, it's a great option. It brushes through pretty nicely. So there we are. There's the difference. If your brows are groomed, it's going to be easier to use. You know what's an accurate statement? This acts a lot like a pomade, just in pencil form. That is an accurate statement. Spoolie here is key. It really helps spread the product out and gives your brows just a natural look. Alright, I'm going to curl my lashes real quick. Oh, this little mirror really showed me how much fallout is truly on my face. Oh well, let's pretend like we don't see that. Because I can't get it off. I have two favorite mascaras from e.l.f. The e.l.f. Lash and Roll is my favorite for just like everyday wear. I love this formula. Obviously, they're trying to dupe Benefit Roller Lash Mascara. This is one of the few non-waterproof mascaras that I feel comfortable wearing on its own without a primer, because it does keep most of the curl intact. It does fall some, but that's just because I have really rude lashes. Really good brush at separating. And the formula is easy to build. The other mascara I really enjoy is the Big Mood mascara. I have the waterproof version, and that gives you a ton of volume. And it's like, remember the Bite Beauty mascara? Everybody loved it. Also Too Faced Better Than Sex. It's giving those vibes. But I'm going to use the blue Big Mood on my lower lashes, since we're going blue today. Not the most precise because this brush is so honkin' big, but for the top lashes it really does build some volume. I'm going to use the Halo Glow liquid filter in the lightest shade, which is still too dark for me, as a highlighter today. I'm going to put some on the back of my hand. It gets points just for that sound alone. I'm using a brush because my fingers are stained blue. Usually I would just use my fingers. So I'm going to place this on top as my highlighter today. You can definitely use it in multiple ways. You can use it like this. You can use it as a primer, as a replacement for foundation, whatever works for you. I am just going to pick up a little more blush and tap on top of that so there's no weird line. I like to bring my blush pretty much underneath my eyes. There we go, there we go. e.l.f. does have lip liners, but they made them in a weird triangular shape, which nobody really liked, so I decluttered mine. But I do have one of their lipsticks in the shade Standing Ovation. These are matte, very pigmented. I think these are supposed to be a dupe for NARS lipstick. They really remind me of the Rose Ink lipstick formula. And since I don't have a liner, I'm just using a brush to help me push it to the edges of my lips. They're matte, but they're creamy and hydrating. They don't feel like they're sucking the life out of my lips, so they're really good. And e.l.f. has these little Squeeze Me lip balms. This one is in strawberry. These are ultra moisturizing. I like that it's a thicker formula. Perfect throw in your purse, in your car kind of product. It feels like a treatment. Definitely recommend trying these out. And then last but not least, I have two setting sprays. I have the Dewy Coconut Setting Mist, which is fantastic. Definitely leaves your skin dewy and locks everything in. And then more recently, they've launched the Suntouchable SPF 45 setting spray. So if this is nice, I haven't tried it before, then this is going to be amazing, especially with that 45 factor. So you got to shake up the sunscreen in it. 2 over the shoulder for good luck, and here we go. Okay, there is like an alcohol kind of smell. The sprayer is intense, and it does not appear to have altered the finish of the base at all. So this would be great for if you need to touch up your SPF throughout the day. And if I had read the instructions, it says to keep your eyes closed for 3 seconds after you spray it. That's good to know. I will go over top of it with the dewy coconut setting mist, just so you can see that it does dewify things. Sprayer on this is fantastic. Nice and fine. Smells like vacation. Smells like a creamy coconut, not too overly sweet. And that is the face of all e.l.f. for today. It'd be hard pressed to find somebody that doesn't have at least one favorite product from e.l.f. So they've done a good job at just like being a household name, bringing more affordable products to the masses. I think most of their products perform pretty well. There's definitely some hits and misses, as with any brand. I'll tell you my favorite things, 3 favorite things right now from e.l.f. are the Suntouchable Woke Glow sunscreen, the e.l.f. Lash and Roll mascara, and the little Squeeze Me lip balms. I will say really quickly that I definitely prefer this side with the liquid putty primer versus the power grip. My pores definitely look enlarged more on one side than they do the other, so good to know. The eyeshadows, the mattes are fantastic, the shimmers are iffy, lipstick is great, brow pencil gets the job done, powder gets the job done. The camo powder is really great for covering up blemishes. So let me know your favorite e.l.f. products down below. I hope you enjoy these one brand focus videos because I really like doing them. It's interesting to see what a brand is bringing as a whole. I appreciate you for watching. As always, be blessed and please be kind to one another, and we'll see each other again very, very soon. Bye.